Hello, Ben here, and welcome back to Dragon Fist VR Kung Fu. Okay, so I've never done a devlog about the weapons mode that I've been working on for ages, so I thought now might be a good time. So firstly, we've got at least 30 weapons in progress. And they'll be available in single and multiplayer. And how it works in single player is it'll be a bit like the existing modes, but each character will have a weapon. It won't necessarily be a different weapon for each character, but I hope to do different fighting moves for each character. And yes, so the weapons are normally either they're like a single-handed weapon like a sword, or there can be double weapons, so you have one in each hand. They'll often be sort of shorter weapons, or there'll also be two-handed weapons like staves and spears, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm in the practice room at the moment, and some people have already been beta testing the weapons. They're about to have a bit of an overhaul, and this will help testers and me see what's going on. So if I just change the mode here. So firstly, I've added a new mode, which is idle. So he just stands wide open. So if you just want to practice your cuts, you can use this. So if I give him a shot,
not bad.
You see now these stats related to the weapon. So I've hit with the blade, 78% speed, alignment, which is the blade alignment. So if I hit at a bit of a rough angle, so the alignment is 0% there. This is just basically if the blade is aligned with the direction it's moving, then it will do more damage than if not. So that gives blades a bit more of a boost than blunt weapons if you're aligned, and a bit worse if you're not. There you go, alignment 27%. I've hit the torso, so different body parts will take different amounts of damage. Torso and head's good, legs a bit less, and arms currently it's 0, but I will probably change that once more. Generally with the balancing, I've tried to make it so that longer weapons do a bit less damage than short ones. There's the meat cleaver, and that's a very short weapon. It's only one-handed, so I've tried to give that a big boost. I know in reality a sword's probably going to do as much damage as a meat cleaver, but for purposes of gameplay, I think it's good to give the short weapons a bit of a boost. Okay. So yeah, so the knockback currently is a bit inconsistent, but I will figure that out later. Okay, so yeah, so bladed and point alignment. So I talked about the blade. It's the same with the stab. If you're going, if your blade's moving in the direction that you're thrusting, then it will have a higher alignment, whereas if it's a bit off, then it will reduce the damage. Okay, weapon actions. So firstly, now you can swap hands by grabbing, and if you reverse the grip, you can swap your blade to be a reverse grip. You can also throw the weapon to the other hand. You do this by gripping, moving it quickly, and then releasing. If you grip, move up quickly, you can quickly swap the grip, which leads to a few more interesting maneuvers, I think. You can also sheathe the weapon. Let's see if I can get a good view. On your hip or on your back. Some weapons you'll be able to sheathe forwards. It depends on the type of weapon. It doesn't make sense to have the blade sticking forward on this. Okay, so two-handed weapons. So this is a new thing I've been working on that's been very difficult.
Choose your character.
And it's still a bit of a work in progress. So those beta testing will not have tried any of these yet, but they should be in testing pretty soon.
Shang Ming.
Hopefully they'll be in testing next week. I've just got to do a bit more testing on the multiplayer. There have been some issues with the physics on that. Okay, so it's a work in progress. So at the moment the dominant hand is fixed in position, and you can do a secondary grab with the other hand. Okay, and yeah, you can hit with the different parts of the weapon.
Very good!
Vary depending on the weapon how much damage they do. You can also still reverse the grip, although this is a bit glitchier at the moment. But as I say, a work in progress. If it's a two-handed weapon, then you will do more damage if you're using two hands than if you're not. I think of this like you just have a more stable grip. You imagine you're thrusting a spear into someone, you're going to have more power if you're using two hands versus a wobbly one hand. Okay, so that's the spear. I think it's quite good. So at this point I'll give a shout out to Sam and Ian, who modelled the weapons. I think they look really great. Okay, so I go to Officer Lou. He's got another new weapon, which is the horse cutter. So it's like a long-handled broadsword. So this is more of a slashing weapon.
Not bad!
So some weapons like the spear will be a bit more weighted towards stabbing. This one will be a bit more weighted towards slashing, although you can still stab. You can still hit with the handle.
Not bad!
Currently I would say this weapon does a lot more damage than it should. I will adjust the balancing of these things later on. Just show a couple more outlandish weapons. Well, not so much outlandish, just more the extremes. So I mentioned the Cleaver, I think, before.
Ho Hua.
Now I think this might be the kind of weakest weapon in the game, in that it's very short and it's only one of them. So I've tried to balance it by the amount of damage it does.
That hurt!
So you do 60% damage, so you should be able to take someone out in a couple of hits of this, if you can get near enough to them without getting sliced up. Okay, I'll show the nunchucks. I haven't
Billy Lee.
haven't done too much on these yet, but I'll talk about them now. Now I realise these are going to be a lot of people's favourite weapons because of Bruce Lee, and they are, you know, a fun weapon, pretty cool. At the moment, maybe a bit weak, bit short-ranged, and you can't yet grab the other handle. I would like to do that later, but it will require a lot of its own coding. But I know people would like to be able to do all the nunchuck tricks. Yeah, so that will require. That's kind of fun in that it's a sort of flail weapon. One other flail weapon we've got is the skull flail, which is
Choose your character.
a bit like a morning star. I've got them locked at the moment. I'll have to save that for another time. Dual weapons. That's a good one. But I'll show you the Rapier.
Mr. Timothy.
So this has been quite a difficult one in that it's a very long weapon, and that makes it it gives you quite a long reach advantage. So you can see I can get pressure points with these weapons as well. So I've tried to make it do lower damage. I still think probably it's going to be a bit overpowered at the moment, but we'll try and maybe I should disable the hand flipping on this. Not sure. Okay, and yeah, so I think those are the extremes. I'll show the katana as well, because I know people are big fans of katanas, and also it's a different type of two-handed weapon in that it's not a pole.
Onochi Takahashi.
Okay, so you can grab like this, and then again you get that two-handed boost. Again, you can still use it one-handed, but it will do a bit less damage. Okay, so I think that's it. Okay, so the Fighter Forge, I hope to allow players to be able to record their own weapon moves in the Fighter Forge. That'll be useful for me as well, to help make some fighting moves. And I think, yeah, I think having the whole community contributing different weapon attacks will be quite interesting, I think. A couple more things I'll just mention about the two-handed weapons. If you've got a long weapon, so these are more things that I've
Ling Hao.
patched before people have found them, or that's what I like to think. So when you're grabbing a weapon, so part of the difficult thing is, of course, your hands, your real life hands, don't have to match where your virtual hands are. So that, in fact, I can show that. So testing. Right, so you can see where my controllers are now. So if I do a two-handed grab, so one thing I did find is you could do a really wide grab and then move the hands in and then rapidly move those forward. So I've made it basically slow it down if you're if you've moved your hands too far in. You see that? Also, if you do just grab too close together, it does slow it down a bit as well, because I found, I think in reality, if you grabbed a staff like this and moved your hands quickly, it would be difficult to move it with any speed, but because you haven't got the actual weight in your hands, I've added a bit of smoothing there, whereas if you're further away, you can do it quickly. Okay, right, so yeah, Fighter Forge, hopefully I'll do that fairly soon. General plans and things I'm not going to do. So I won't be doing any dismemberment, but basically because that's not the focus of the game, I want the game to be about having a good duel, good fights with someone, rather than just instantly beheading someone. Also, technically wise, it'll be very difficult to have dismembering all of these different characters. If I had like 5 characters, maybe it would be okay, but it'll just be too much effort. I want to get this mode finished before the end of the universe. But I might try with adding a bit more blood. You know, I've got these kind of light particles here. I could probably add in a bit more gore, or I could try it at least. So I'll give that a go, but no promises. And if I do, that will be optional. I'll also say I will make a lot of this optional. So already with the weapon flipping and things like that, you can disable them if you find yourself doing them by accident. In multiplayer, I've set it so you can when you create a game, you can set it to weapons allowed, weapons not allowed, or never or always. So when you're creating a game, if you don't want to do weapons, you can just set it to no weapons, and then anyone joining will have that expectation. Well, hopefully. So other plans, yes. So as I said, the right hand is fixed in position at the moment. I would like to make it so that I could grab with the left and release with the right and maintain the position with the left hand, and I hope I will be able to do that later. There's also, there's some, I know this sort of hand position is not that great, and the left hand position is not perfect. These are things that I hope to improve once all the weapons are in there. It doesn't make sense to do it now because it'll, it's surprisingly difficult to place fingers in the right place, and if I was to do it all now, I might have to end up redoing it all again. So I'll get the function working first and then work on the rest.
Not bad!
Okay, other plans. As I say, we've got 30 plus weapons, so I'll probably try and start getting all of those in, and then we can work on the balancing of all those things. Again, it doesn't make sense to balance around what's there and then break it by adding a whole bunch of stuff later, so I will add other weapons. So one's in the pipeline. We've got a sledgehammer that will be the weapon for Hercules. I've got a Quandao, which is a good historical Chinese weapon with a blade on the end of a pole and a spike on the other end. And any others? Probably some others. I may still add some more. We'll see how it goes. I was thinking maybe for the landlady, it might be cool for her to have a wok or a frying pan. Might do. That said, probably won't do loads of historical Western weapons. I know some people want like a long sword and things like that, but I think really it doesn't quite fit the game, and it's covered by blade and sorcery, etc. However, we'll see how things go. Never say never. Okay, so these 200 weapons are not in beta yet. But hopefully they will be before too long. I'm just going to do a multiplayer test today, and then maybe they will be early next week, but it depends on how the test goes. I don't want to put them in and make the game unplayable. And but if you're interested in testing these, come to the Discord, and there will be some instructions there for you. Okay, feel free to ask any questions or make suggestions that I may or may not ignore. Subscribe for my next devlog in 5 years, or whenever I do it. I might try and do a few more. I know I should do more. It's just I'm just always so busy getting on with it, and these videos take a surprising amount of time. Okay, that's all from me. Bye for now.